Martin Luther King Jr., a leader in the American Civil Rights Movement and the proponent of nonviolent protest, was assassinated on April 4, 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee. The 24 hours leading up to his assassination were pivotal and have since been meticulously examined by historians, reflecting King's ongoing struggle for racial equality and economic justice. April 3, 1968. Martin Luther King Jr. arrived in Memphis to support the city's sanitation workers who were on strike, advocating for improved working conditions and better pay. This was not his first visit to the city in support of the strike. He had been to Memphis before, emphasizing economic equality along with racial justice. Evening, Mason Temple. On the evening of April 3rd, King delivered what would be his final sermon at the Mason Temple, known as the "I've Been to the Mountaintop" speech. Though he had initially felt unwell and didn't intend to speak, he was persuaded by his close associates, including Ralph Abernathy, to address the gathering. King's speech that night was profound and prophetic. He spoke about the threats against his life, expressing his desire to live a long life, but emphasized his commitment to the cause was unwavering, even in the face of death. He expressed his confidence that the struggle would ultimately succeed, saying, "I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land." April 4th, 1968. Morning and afternoon. The Lorraine Motel. On April 4th, King spent much of his day at the Lorraine Motel, where he and his associates were staying. He had meetings planned to discuss the ongoing strike and the next step in the Poor People's Campaign, a movement aimed at addressing economic inequalities. During the day, King interacted with his close aides, discussing strategies and ongoing initiatives. They had a crucial meeting planned with local leaders and organizers to discuss the march scheduled to support the striking sanitation workers. Early evening preparations. Around 6 p.m., King started to get ready for dinner at the home of Reverend Billy Kyles, a local minister. The atmosphere was generally relaxed, with King and his aides engaged in lighthearted conversations and reflections on the movement. Assassination, 6:01 p.m. At approximately 6:01 p.m., as King stood on the balcony outside his motel room, he was struck by a single bullet. The shot was fired from a Remington rifle, presumably by James Earl Ray, a small-time criminal with a history of escape from the Missouri State Penitentiary. King was rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital immediately, but despite urgent medical interventions, he was pronounced dead at 7:05 p.m., leaving the nation and the world in shock and sorrow. Impact and legacy. The last 24 hours of Martin Luther King Jr.'s life reflect his unwavering commitment to nonviolent protest and his dedication to the ideals of justice, equality, and dignity for all. His last speech and the events surrounding his assassination have been meticulously dissected, serving as a stark reminder of the immense sacrifices made in the struggle for civil rights. King's legacy endures, inspiring countless individuals worldwide to pursue justice and equality with resilience and moral conviction. The reaction to King's assassination included widespread riots and expressions of grief and anger, but it also led to renewed commitment among civil rights leaders and supporters to continue the fight for racial equality and economic justice. King's teachings and philosophy on nonviolent resistance, love, and equality continue to shape discussions on race relations and human rights, perpetuating his vision of a more inclusive and equitable society.